years. We are now to chase success. But how can we actually measure our defined success? In our session, Mahboob Hossain, a career coach, business owner, and professional with cross-industry experience, will take you through a series of reflection to how you get closer to what success means for you. Mahboob will share with us today how to get the right goals, marketing your brand during COVID-19 pandemic, and what his laws for student success are. Mahboob Hossain, the floor is yours.
Hello, can everyone hear me? Fantastic. Thank you so much for joining. And it's actually really awesome to be here. I'm actually really excited to be able to present, and I'm looking forward to sharing some of my journeys and stories with all of you so that we can actually grow and learn something together. So let me just share my screen. I've got a few slides for you guys just to show you, but how hopefully you guys have been enjoying today. And this is about 3:30 is about a time where we kind of have those times where you might not have that much energy. So I just wanted to ask you a really quick question. I'm not sure what was the reason you came to Australia, but when I came to Australia, I was told that I could ride on the back of a kangaroo. And I was told a lot of other things which wasn't true as well. But it's a reminder for me when I came to here and I tried to ride on a kangaroo that it wasn't I actually failed in achieving some of those goals. Now, we all have goals and we all want to be somewhat successful in our own words. The question I have for you guys is that what is your definition of success? And how would you define that? Is it money? Is it having as much money as you possibly can? Is it about getting your PR? Is it about happiness? Is it about eating McDonald's? Is it about seeing your parents happy? Is it about leaving a lasting legacy, helping people, having a peace of mind, achieving your goals, or learning something new? Now, if the answer is learning something new, I hope we're going to be learning something new today in this session. And I really want you guys to pay maybe 15 minutes of attention. I know that today's been a long day, so that we can absorb as much as we possibly can, like a sponge, soaking in as much moisture as possible. Now, I'm Mahboob. This is me, and you can add me on LinkedIn if you like. I know that our previous speaker was Anchal, and she had a really amazing, personable presentation. And I may actually disagree with some of the things that she may say, but that's based on her experience, and this is based on mine. So from based on my experience, I may have some different point of views in terms of networking, in terms of whatever else. Just take all the experiences that you've had today and make the decision for yourself and what works best for you, because everyone's different. So today, I'm going to talk to you a little bit about me and my major definite purpose in life, which is evolution, to grow and to help others to grow. I'm a career coach, and I help people through difficult times, because I've been through a lot of difficult, challenging times. Where I've had no money, where I was facing, when I didn't have any work, had a lot of failures, broke my leg, a lot of things has happened, and that has helped me almost to leverage adversity to get to the destination that I've been. Now, I'll tell you a little bit more of my story a bit later, but obviously, I'll give you a bit of an overview of what I'm going to cover today. And I'm not sure if all of this has been covered earlier today in some other form or not, but I really want you guys to really get a good idea of how to set really meaningful goals. That's one of the things that I've had a huge success with. How to motivate yourself, how to have confidence, whether it's networking, whether it's in front of large audiences, whether it's meeting someone new, whether it's in general at work, wanting to be confident. And being able to sell yourself during COVID-19 and how to brand yourself correctly. And finally, I'll finish up with some really amazing success tips that's going to help you, and that's going to help you with any situation that I've discovered over the many experiences that I've had. So I just want to ask you a quick question. There's people here, do they want a job, or do you actually want a career? Do you want something that's fulfilling, that's going to help you grow and have a pathway? Now, a lot of you already have a job where you are doing something in exchange for money. But as a career coach, I know as a fact that a lot of people that I meet, in fact, most people that I meet actually has a job for their whole life. And then they never really find a career where they really is able to immerse themselves and really able to lose themselves in whatever they're doing. They're loving and enjoying it so much. And sometimes this is where we really need to have a good think about it and set some goals in this area. And today is a very fantastic day to do so, because I know a lot of people here are looking for work, looking to network and connect with people. And I've had similar challenges when I came here in Australia, and I want to share some of those stories with you. Okay, so let me tell you a little bit of my journey. Now, when I came here to Australia, I actually didn't know how to speak English. I was actually, all I could speak was yes, no, and very good. And it was very challenging for me because, as you know, if you start speaking with someone and you struggle, people automatically judge you. And I had this fear and I had this consciousness when I landed here in Australia. I actually was very quiet and shy. And I was very reserved, and I rarely spoke and rarely went out. And things have changed and evolved over the years. And what I realized that, you know, when I was back home, we used to stay in one bed, where my mum, my dad, and my brother, two brothers, used to sleep on the same bed. We had very small starting, and from when I came to Australia, it was a big shock for me. And I realized that when I started to speak in front of a public for the first time, I peed in my pants. You know, when I broke my leg in my first year of university, I realized how hard it was to get from places to place, because you didn't have anyone else. You had yourself to rely on. I had gashes under my armpits from the amount of crutches that I went through. Now, they were actually some of the best things that's actually happened to me. So as a result of being on crutches in the first weeks, I realized who my good friends were, who were right next to me in the lecture theatre. We didn't have online learning, right? And who actually was going to be there for me. I understood and spent time setting goals. And this is one of the things I want to talk to you about having to build confidence when you're getting constant failure, constant struggle. And you would find this in your job search. You're going to find this in your constant job search, where you're constantly getting rejection letters or things like that. So it's about having the right mindset. So I want to really talk to you about mindset, and really getting you to have this unshakable mindset so that you can achieve what you can set out to achieve. Now, a lot of us can say that, look, you know, in our mind, I can't do this. I can't go to this networking event. I can't speak in front of this CEO. And a lot of the times we are fearful. We're fearful of our failure, possibly that we will fail. Now, I want you hopefully to understand that failure is a man-made concept. It's not actually real, and it shouldn't be, because what we actually conceive to be in our head is far worse than what it actually is in real life. I went skydiving, and I realized the night before I could not sleep. I was up awake, and the day that I was there, when they counted 1, 2, and they pushed me over before 3, I was really surprised. But when I actually went down, it was the most blissful experience that I could ever imagine. And I thought up in my head of all the worst things that could possibly happen, like the parachute wouldn't rise or something else wouldn't happen. Now, a lot of the times we think about things that are actually not going to happen and not true, and probably something negative. It's just natural. So we just need to be constantly having those self-talk, those communication with yourself, to understand what we can and can't achieve. And there is literally nothing that you can't achieve. The mere fact that you are here in this session means that you have taken the effort to have some self-development and improvements in your life that surely will help you. And I know that as a fact that as a coach, I wouldn't take on anyone, or I wouldn't speak to anyone who wouldn't have potential. You already have that potential. For you to realize that potential, you just need to uncover what that is. You just need to communicate with yourself how it is. And the way you communicate to yourself how it is if you really understand yourself really well. And the way I spent a lot of time in my early years in Australia understanding myself was actually through doing some personality tests. And now I know that some of you have talked about some of this. The ones that I like is the Principles You and 16 personalities with them, which is the Myers-Briggs, and also the DISC. They're the 3 really good ones. But they also tell you about the strength and weaknesses, right? And obviously about all those different things. But how do you how do you know what your fears are? Does anyone know how they know what their fears are? I'm sure you do. Your legs shake, you're struggling. I had a lot of fear. I had a fear of the dark. I had a fear of sharks, snakes, all the things that are, abundant here in Australia. So I got myself in, I went to Snakes Alive, which is a place where they get all the snakes and they get you to hold it and things like that. They actually told me to take my clothes off and they put me into the snakes. And they saw how many snakes actually bit me and whatever happened. That's how I overcame my fear of snakes. So my challenge to you is overcoming your fear is the biggest step to actually achieving a high level of confidence. So what does fear stand for? False evidence that appears real. So the fear of public speaking, fear of getting in front of someone and having a chat. The way to overcome it is to face it, right? So how do we achieve what's important to you? Now, we've got to set some goals, and I'm going to talk to you about that. I want you to think about what makes you unique. And if you can do that, that'll really help you to understand yourself and actually brand yourself to everyone else. And we're going to talk about LinkedIn a little bit. We're going to talk about how you promote yourself through LinkedIn a little bit. And it may be a little bit different to what Anshul has described. But it will be something that is from my experience, and I hope that you can take something away from that. And also, what are the skills and credentials that you may actually develop that will help you along that journey, right? So understanding yourself is critical. My realization of understanding myself and from my external world, understanding others, was the fact that when I had some close friends of mine who were working in very high corporate level, had heart attacks and literally died or very close to death. And the question I want to ask you today is a very simple one. It is, what is the day of the week and what is the time specifically do most people actually have heart attacks? Does anyone able to put in the chat, tell me, is it a Monday, is it a Tuesday, is it a Wednesday, and what time? Is it a 5 o'clock at night or anything else? Please put something in the chat that tells me what time of the day do you think most people actually have heart attacks? Just a quick question. The answer to that one is Monday. Yes, correct, Monday. What time? 9 o'clock. 9 o'clock. So Monday, 9 o'clock. Most amount of heart attacks ever recorded in the human history, over 30,000 people studying. So Monday, 9 a.m. Do you know why that's the case? Why is the most people have heart attacks on Monday, 9 o'clock? One of the reasons is the fact that we are actually stressed out at work. We actually have challenges where we may not actually have selected the right employment for ourselves. We may have had an employment because we thought that maybe we would get our PR because we, studied accounting or IT, and then end up doing that for the rest of our life, not really enjoying and not really feeling fulfilled, and really understanding that that wasn't your strength, but you constantly worked extra hard at it and you're feeling really stressed at work, and ended up having a loan for a house, having mortgages, having kids, and having all these obligations that's actually getting you to really have all these things that's pushing you, outside factors, pushing you to do what you do, whether you enjoy it or not. And that actually affects our body every single day. So we need to be very conscious of that and understand that as international students or students in general, you actually follow your dreams, you follow your potential of what you can actually do. And that's what I've been doing throughout my journey. You will find that throughout my career, I actually started off as an accountant and I did my accounting degree and I found an accounting job, but I actually really didn't enjoy it. I wasn't very good at it. I got a lot out of it in terms of acumen, business acumen and everything else, but I didn't really enjoy it such that I actually could see myself in it. And my recommendation is to run out of a job or job like in a burning building if it is not the one that is you're passionate about, the one that you love. Because I've seen too many people in their deathbeds or even in their 50s where I've met them for career counseling, thinking of changing career paths and they're not able to. So I'm going to give you some really good strategies, hopefully today, that will really help you to understand how to change some career paths and strategies and how to set yourself goals. Because a lot of people actually don't have goals. They go out in the market and they hope whatever they can get. They don't have a brand and they grab whatever they can get. They're desperate and they hold on to it very tight. They're very desperate and we're not able to actually achieve what we really want. We are a consequence of what's around us and what other people will tell us to do and what other goals are. So my philosophy of having goals is if you don't have any goals, you're doomed to have other people who have goals and you're doomed to follow those goals. Am I right in saying that? So it is very important for you to have goals, and this is how I set my goals. If you have a look at this PowerPoint, I set goals in 7 areas of my life, and I've been experimenting for the last 15, 17 years on how to set goals. And if you have a look at my 27-page document, you'll realize how comprehensive my goals are. And some people tell me that, oh, look, setting goals is not good. You know, you're setting yourself for failure. You could fail, you may not achieve it. So what? Did I achieve my goal of riding in the back of the kangaroo when I wanted to come to Australia? No. I tried and I fell over and the kangaroo, kicked me in my back. But did I change my goals? Absolutely. I changed it to a more realistic goals or what was important to me at the time. So it's important for us to adapt to the environment. We have COVID-19 now. We had an earthquake yesterday, which was the largest ever recorded earthquake in Victoria, 5.8 magnitude, and that has never happened before. What does that mean? There's a lot of new things that could happen. You could have COVID issues. We could have lockdowns for some other issues. What I suggest is that the goals should be able to be adapted. Now, what I want you to do is to prioritize these 7 things that I've got on there: health, career, self-development, relationship, family, financial freedom, and contributions in terms of 1 to 7. 1 being the most important to you and the highest priority for you, and 7 being the least. So health is your physical, mental, and spiritual health. All right? How good is it now? Are you eating McDonald's every day? Or are you genuinely looking after yourself? Are you doing exercise? Are you spiritually making sure you're getting the meditation, the time to have a think and set goals and all those things? Career, you should have a separate goal for career if you actually really want to have one. Yeah. And if that's important to you. Self-development goals. Now, I've had a really important career goal for the last 6 months, and I've really have moved from where I was to a new role just recently as the head of learning and development. And that was because I had a goal for about 6 months and I was consistently pursuing I was in a similar position to a lot of you who are working and looking for a career. And I found that over the 6 months, I'm going to tell you a little bit more about that journey and how I set my goals in that journey. Self-development, how you personally developing yourself. By attending this class, you're probably achieving one of your self-development goals because you're immersing yourself with people who are like-minded, who want to learn and grow, and you're connecting with those people. Maybe you're going away with some contact details from this class and actually connecting with a few people on LinkedIn, and you're able to get new ideas, new perspectives, right? A relationship. Who are the people that actually gives you 80% of our happiness? Relationships. Family. How important is family? Financial freedom. How much money? How important is money to you? Whether you want to travel with it, whether you want to buy a house with it, whether you want to pay off your debts or whatever else you need. Maybe you can use it to buy a business and get PR. Contributions. So how much are we giving back to the world? How much are we contributing back? And how much does people remember us by the amount of effort that I'm doing? For me, this is a little bit like contribution. I know how much struggle that all of you are going through or may have gone through. I've been in that situation and I want to give back. I want to give you some tips and hints and things that will help you to not make the mistakes that I did, not gone through the hardships or failures that I did. I may be a very mentally tough individual, but it didn't happen overnight. It took a long, long time, and I needed the right mentors, the right coaches behind me. And I'm not who I am today without those individuals who are there, who actually said, look, I'm going to coach you. I'm going to mentor you. I'm going to teach you English after class every single day so that you can improve your language, or so you can improve this part of your life. And I had to set goals to achieve that. It didn't happen randomly. Just people didn't rock up to my life all of a sudden. And all of a sudden I had to set myself goals and purposefully make attempts towards it. Isn't that right? So have you organized 1 to 7 as to what is your most important and what is your least important? Can you do that? Are you able to do that now? Are you able to put 1 next to what is most important and 7 against the ones that's least important, and everything in between in those 7 areas? The reason why I want to get you on the 7 areas, because it's going to give you a more well-balanced life. You're going to look at it holistically. It's not going to be all about PR, all about one thing, right? So can everyone do that? Is everyone able to write these goals? And I found this so empowering when I wrote it down for the first time in my life. And I've been reading tons of books every single day, because I'm absolutely obsessed with personal development and learning. I never think I'm actually qualified to do what I do. I always want to learn more, do more, and exceed expectations. And that's something that I learned because I needed to grow. Yeah, if you can type in the comments if you like. Yeah, so type it in the comments as to what is your number 1. Just put in your comments, what is your number 1? Is it health? Number 1. Is it family? Number 1. For me, it is health, because without my health, I can't look after my family. I can't do my career. I can't do anything else. My health is absolutely important, and people abuse their health all their life, and until they go to the doctors, and when they tell you, okay, well, you actually got very high cholesterol or whatever else, they realize that. And if you had health underneath your career, for example, if your number 1 priority was career, then your health, what you would be doing is you'll be eating those junk food. You'd be focusing on career. You'd be the fat man in the Ferrari. And the problem with that is that there's always a compromise, isn't it? If you put family before health, you're the person that sacrifices your health for family, right? So you can do that. So the challenge with that is that your family will come first. Your job will come before family. So think about your actions you take every day. Are they consistent with what you have prioritized in that list? Are they consistent? Because if they're inconsistent, if your health is number 1 on the list, but you're not doing anything about your health, you're going to be more likely to be unhappy. As opposed to if that list, everything on that list, you are actually consistent with, you're going to be more likely to be happy. Is that correct? So if I look at this tunnel here, a lot of our experiences have been like this deep, dark tunnel. And sometimes we can't see the light at the end of the tunnel, which is PR, or which is something that you want to achieve. And it could be a short-term goal, could be not something that's not long-term. Now, networking or meeting new people or looking at opportunities to develop yourself, they can only happen if you had goals in all these other areas, not just one goal. People tell you focus on one thing. Now, this tunnel just leads you to one destination. And sometimes as an international student or a student, you achieve one goal, but then you miss out on all those other things. And that, I wouldn't say that's successful either. If you had all the money in the world and you wanted to achieve that, but you didn't have all the other things. So we need to look at everything so we can attract those things into our life. I know a lot of international students who've got their PR, who actually did exceptionally well in their tests, whatever, got their PR, but they couldn't find the job that they wanted. And they spent 15, 20 years doing the same role and couldn't progress within the role because they didn't have the communication, leadership skills required for them to progress, because they took shortcuts. They wanted to get to the end destination and they didn't look around and develop themselves in other areas. Now, is that where you want to go? This tunnel, it doesn't have to be deep, dingy, dark. It can be bright, joyful, and it's to do with your mind. And a very famous Chinese proverb is, the journey is your reward. So in every day, we breathe fresh air. We've got some of the best food, everything that's available to us in Australia. Why not make the most of it? Why make the experience a struggle? Things are only going to get harder from now. You're going to have kids like myself, have properties, you're going to have all these other things, all the debts. You got none of those responsibilities now, hopefully, and you can enjoy life. Enjoy it. Because how long is a piece of string? How long do we live? Just make sure you enjoy that journey. It doesn't have to be a tough journey. It can be an enjoyable journey. Appreciate that journey. Learn from that journey. Make the most of that journey. And if you can do that, that's a good start. And some people are very good at setting those goals, but maybe not very good at selling themselves. And that's where we get stuck a little bit. As an international student, I found that I was very bad at selling myself. So how can we sell ourselves during this COVID pandemic? How can we do things that will make us stand out? Now, I know some of these programs, and you may think, okay, well, Seek, how do we network through Seek or Jora or Indeed? Now, I can tell you that they're probably some of the best tools to network. So every job opportunity is an opportunity for you to network and connect with the HR manager. Now, the HR manager doesn't want to meet you, but you do. So you will do whatever it takes. So whether it's the number's not on your job ad, you need to go to the website. You need to do everything possible and be super persistent to make sure you connect with those person and have a conversation. If they look at your name, they're already going to make a judgment about you, right? But if you are actually going to meet that person, that's your best resume. When you actually, your cover letter is yourself presenting yourself. So my advice to you is that don't hide behind a resume, cover letter, or LinkedIn. Meet people, just like you did today. Meet people just like you need to do every single day, so that the more people you meet, the more opportunities you attract to your life, the more options that you have, the more discussions you have. And you can often say, okay, how do I do all this? You know, how do I sell myself? Now I'm going to give you a few tips on resume, cover letters, LinkedIn next, and it'll be just very quick. Okay, and then I'll give you some time to have a go through this. So the quick tips on resume is that you need to differentiate yourself. People use a template, so you can blend in. Why? Stand out. 7 seconds. They'll probably look at your cover letter for 7 seconds. That's it. People say hobbies and interest is not interesting, don't include it. I'd say you include it, especially if you don't have experience. Include those things, because that's going to be getting the curiosity of your, you're the person. And learn about footy, learn about things that are not very familiar, and try to, put recent experience first and all those things. Resume, cover letters, LinkedIn, they're okay, but I want to talk to you more about how you can do that. So what's most important about a cover letter? Well, for a lot of you guys, it's about these questions. Why do you want to work for us? And I see time and time again cover letters and as a career coach, see cover letters that don't have why the person wants that role, why that organization, why that industry. And it saddens me a lot. It makes me deeply sad that people talk about only themselves and not about what they actually are looking to get. Right? And if you don't do a good cover letter, that people aren't going to even bother looking at your resume, right? So the other cover letter that you can provide is actually make a phone call and speak to the person. That's the best cover letter. Okay. And finally, the most importantly, LinkedIn. Get yourself into LinkedIn, get your brand organized. If you want to learn more about branding, connect with me on LinkedIn. You'll know what I mean by branding. Connect with anyone. Press the connect button as many times. You can have up to 300 connect buttons there. If they don't return that connection, that's their problem. But if you have an amazing brand, if you look amazing on LinkedIn, regardless, you don't have to introduce yourself. Don't have the fear of, okay, what should I say? I shouldn't connect with this person. Connect with the most famous, most people with the most amount of connections, as many connections as possible. Because it's not like Facebook. You don't need to know the person. It's about the opportunity to meet the person and learn about them. If they connect you, and from my experience, most people connect me. If I want to connect with them, most people connect with me. They will actually, once they're connected, then you write a message, because they've already said yes. They're going to say yes more times, and you have more chance of succeeding in meeting with those individuals. Okay, so how are you growing your network? And I want to ask this question because you guys all did networking today. And I want to see if you can continue to develop your network and continue to sell yourself. So what's my definition of sales? Transfer of enthusiasm, energy, passion. Was I passionate today? Am I passionate about these topics? Absolutely. And 80% of the job market, hidden job market, is through networking. And I know you've done a lot of NKC exercise today, but if you know that most of the hiring managers are actually on my connection, you'll be a second degree connection to that. And that's close enough to getting you an opportunity for an informational interview. Informational interview is something you need to research about. But you do realize that every single one of you have the greatness within you, but you just don't know it yet. A job of a coach like myself is to make you realize that, yes, you can actually achieve it. And this is how, right? So when you are looking for a role, this is what the HR is looking for. And you're only targeting job fit in your experience and not the other things. The other things are very important, like culture fit, how you meet with the person, relationship fit. All these fits are so crucial. So talk about these things when you're meeting with the person, when you're actually on the in a cover letter. In every way, demonstrate these fit. When you see all these fit in these areas, you're going to be more likely to be hired. Isn't that right? So you need to show it with your branding, show it with your resume, cover letter. I'm going to tell you a real quick story about a baby elephant. Now, this is a quick story before we finish up. The baby elephant, this is a baby elephant from India. What they do with these baby elephants is they actually separate the baby elephant from its mother, and they tie it to a tiny twig, to a little tree, and the baby elephant's so weak it can't even move. As the baby elephant grow up, you give it bananas, it becomes a massive, ginormous creature that is so powerful and strong and with so much potential. You tie that massive creature to a chain to a big tree, and it can swing with one hand and move the tree out of the roots 300 meters across. That's how powerful, that's how much potential that elephant has. However, that baby elephant, if you put that adult elephant with that same rope that was used when it was a baby and put that next to a tree, that adult elephant actually won't even move, because it already knows it's got such amazing memory that it tried to escape when it was a baby and it couldn't. And it couldn't unlearn. It could not unlearn the things that potentially they've learnt. And that's what happens in real life. So when you're applying for a role, your most powerful thing that you can provide is the fact that you can learn. And you can adapt yourself to the environment. So the thing that I ask you is that don't limit yourself. You'll limit your potential because of something that you've learned, and mindset of something that you learned that is actually not consistent or not there, where it actually doesn't help you to achieve your potential. So that's a very critical, think about the baby elephant, okay? So here's my success laws, the 3 things that I teach, and I do a lot of work with international students and I help them a lot of way. The first one is stepping outside your comfort zone. So if you're networking, you're stepping outside your comfort zone. AQ is adaptability quotient. I talked about these things, asking questions. I've got some of the biggest promotions by consistently asking. I've had a $50,000 promotion by just asking for it. In real life, in business and organization, you have to ask for it. Otherwise, you don't get. Third is time management, and most of it is energy management, making sure your energy is off the charts. So making sure your energy is there and you're achieving your goal orientation. If you do something that helps you get closer to your goal, that's an intelligent action. If you do something that gets you further from a goal, that's an unintelligent action. If you don't have goals, how can you make intelligent action? Okay. So in final closing, just wanted to say that never give up. And continue to persist, whether it's looking for work, looking for employment, and make the most of your ability to develop your mind. That's your strongest part of your body. I hope that's enough. I know I've ran out of time, but if there's any questions, please do ask. I'll open the floor up now to ask any questions that you potentially have. I think Kimberly is here now.
Yep.
Hi, Kimberly.
So, hi, Mahboob. How are you?
Terrific. How are you?
Good, thanks. From the participants, do we have any questions for you?
Really quickly. I know I'll only take 3 questions because I know I've run
Mahboob?
over time.
So please type it in the comment section so we can ask our keynote speaker for any questions.
Look, hopefully you got something out of that. I know it was very quick, and it was hopefully quite informative. But if there's anything that you're not sure about, if you weren't sure about any of those items on the slides that I presented at the end, the tips, whether it's stepping outside your comfort zone, time management, or asking questions, you can ask about them as well. And you're more than happy to connect on LinkedIn. Yeah. So if there's anyone else have any questions, please ask now. Otherwise, I'll let you guys be, and you can continue the rest of your session. Hope you guys are having fun.
I think the participants are being shy to ask some questions.
There were so many questions being asked to Anshul, so I feel bad. Like it's almost like there's no questions asked here. So I'm not sure if people were listening, right?
There you go. From Sean Ryan. How
Yes.
do you create your brand?
How do I create my brand? Firstly, my brand is about how I communicate with people. So you need to, for example, do you communicate that I just need a job when you're applying for a job, or do you communicate that I'm someone that values my time? I'm going to make a phone call and ask, look, I'm not going to actually submit my resume until you tell me more about this role, so that I can be sure this is the right opportunity for me. Because I want to make sure if it's not the right fit, I don't want to waste your time or mine. So that's how I create my brand. I have, a limit as to what I feel is appropriate, and they'll know straight away that you're a different sort of candidate. You're someone that they will need to pursue and need to give time to, and that way you can build that relationship.
Thanks for that, Mahboob. I think I have another question, but it's from Stang Doi. As a career coach, what has been one common question that you get asked by students?
I think what I want to do in my career. They ask me what they want to do in their career, and the question itself, the answer to it, they end up telling themselves, because it's not something that I know. That's something that depends on you. So I tend to uncover their interests, their passions, and they come up with the solution themselves. So it's not like I almost tell them the answer. They tell themselves the answer. They ask themselves the question almost. And I just help them by asking a few questions along that journey.
Thanks for that. I think it's been a very reflective afternoon hearing, your presentation. And I'm pretty sure it goes for the rest of everyone here listening to our speaker. So thank you very much for sharing your time with us this afternoon. And you guys, if you have any questions and just feeling, shy to ask Mahboob, then feel free to connect with him on LinkedIn so you can have more discussion with him. So thank you very much for that.
Pleasure. Don't be shy. Just connect with me on LinkedIn. Happy to have conversations. Thank you.
Thank you.